Okay, well, welcome to the WBA, Westford Business Association, 6th Annual Town Managers Meeting. And thank you, Juniper Networks, for hosting this again. We appreciate that very much. I want to thank our sponsors, Lowell 5, Tom Courtney of Lair Realty, Karen Bellamy of Best Version Media, who's now publishing, I don't know if you've seen it or not, Westford Neighbors. I will read a brief bio for each presenter before they do, and I guess I'll start now. Nina Nazarian from Littleton is the town administrator for the town of Littleton, serving the community since May of 2019. Prior to that, she was the town administrator for the town of Princeton for nearly 4 years. Most of her municipal experience has been along the 495 belt, having held the titles of Assistant Town Administrator in Tingsboro and Project Manager in Tewksbury. Nina has a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from UMass Lowell, which she used to begin a career in municipal government as a public works engineer and a master's degree in public administration from Suffolk University.
Good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to be here today with you all. Thank you very much to the Westford Business Association for inviting us. Just like to go through some of the different updates that we have in Littleton and what's going on in Littleton. There's a lot always going on in Littleton, as you may know. Over the course of the past probably decade, you've seen a number of transformations for Littleton, and I'm excited to be a part of those as we move through. Back in 2017, when the town's master plan was created, the number one priority that was identified, or the most popular topic, was the revitalization of the town common. And there are two major components for the revitalization of the town common that are probably the most time-consuming and the most energy and work that's going to go into them to establish them. The first is form-based code, and the second is a wastewater disposal system for the town center. As far as form-based code is concerned, the planning board, the town planner, and many other town officials have worked tirelessly to revise the current village center zoning district. The intent of the form-based code is essentially to allow the community the ability to determine development standards that occur from design, architecture, and public space. It has a goal of reducing uncertainty in the development process. As you can see in the slide here, there's a picture of what the future form-based code would look like for Littleton. And it has the look and feel of a historic farm style, which would be also reflective of the town's agrarian past. The objectives here are to have a mixed-use, walkable, and hometown feel for the town center. As far as the smart sewer system is concerned, that's an integral component to the actual form-based code project, because without the smart sewer system, the form-based code developments that are anticipated would be in a difficult situation. We all know the importance of sewer in the role of economic development. The Light and Water Department has undertaken the responsibility at this point in time to prepare and to design with engineering firms the actual smart sewer system. Previously, it was the Board of Selectmen working with our DPW director, who's also our town engineer, and a considerable amount of work was done, but at this stage we have turned it over to the Light and Water District, and that is a part of a home rule petition and a special act that we're anticipating to see coming down the road. At this point in time, the Light and Water District have completed a needs assessment and a peer review relating to 3 specific components: the hydrogeological evaluation, a siting evaluation for a wastewater treatment plant, and the review of the financial plan. The conclusion is that there's more engineering work that's needed, and it's something that we anticipate to see coming down the road, perhaps in the fall for a fall town meeting, or even possibly shortly after that. The form-based code we are anticipating coming to this annual town meeting in May. We also have another exciting project in a very different area of town, and that's our Littleton train station village. This project is one that was identified as part of the master plan as well. And the objectives are for mixed use and higher density housing. A 40R district is being recommended as the vehicle to accomplish some of the many goal highlights. I've listed a few of them here for you, specifically parking for the train station, diverse housing types, as I mentioned, business and retail center, and then coupled with that project is the town has filed for and is on the state transportation improvement plan for Foster Street. I wrote Foster Road, but that is indicative of the fact that I'm still new to Littleton and still getting familiarized with the street names. Anyway, we're on the tip for 2023 or 2020. We're on it currently for 2024, but we're hoping for 2023. We also have a number of other transportation projects going on, as does many of our neighbor communities. We are planning on over half a dozen of local roads, which I didn't want to list to bore you all. But then we also have Newtown Road, which is probably more closely related to this area, with a total of 4.5 miles of roads in calendar year 20 being either, just some level of construction improvements to those roads. Finally, I wanted to touch on our Great Road at Beaver Brook Road project that we're in the very initial stages on. This is a project that many of you are probably, at least certainly familiar with its current layout and the current challenges that the roadway presents itself. We're looking to establish a roundabout in that area. As also you may know, it's a pretty standard design from Mass DOT's perspective, and we're hoping to get this on the transportation improvements plan in the future as well. This is a very preliminary image of what that might look like. It will take a number of different steps, stakeholder meetings, public comment, and various other pieces before any final design. We're not even at 25% design at this stage, so very initial. We've submitted the project needs form and the project initiation form, but we have a long way to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next we have John Mangiaratti from Acton, who is the Acton Town Manager, a position he has held since 2018. Prior to that, he served as the Deputy Town Manager in Andover and the Assistant Town Manager in Westford. John serves as the co-chair of the Massachusetts Municipal Management Diversity and Inclusion Task Force and is a member of the Board of Directors for the Greater Lowell YMCA. John?
Thank you.
Do you want to click through something?
Yeah, I'll click. That's great. Good morning. Great to see a lot of familiar faces. Thanks for having me back again this year. Before I get started, I just want to mention a member of my offices here, Austin Saganowitz. He started working with us last year, and he's supposed to be my person to help talk to everybody. So he got here early, and hopefully he was talking to everybody. So hopefully you get a chance to see him on the way out. He's doing a great job, a lot of transportation stuff. So Acton, I grew up not around here, but I live in Westford, and I've been in the area for about 10 years. And until I started working in Acton, I knew very little about it. And I wonder if that's the same case with many of you. So I wanted to start out with just giving some general information. We have, about 23,000 people. The tax rate is a little higher than I like to announce. The the commercial base is getting smaller every year. Unfortunately, right now it's around 11%. And we do have a little bit of sewer in town. About 10% of the community is on public sewer. There's a lot of things that go on in Acton that people don't know about. This is a confusing way to present it, but we have beautiful rail trails. We have an awesome tea station with a bike share program. We have Nara Park, beach. Acton's really a destination. We have museums. We have the Discovery Museum. We have this really cool contemporary art museum and an old quarry that you should check out. And we have Carol Spinney, who is Big Bird, who just passed away this year. We're planning on a memorial to him, which will be some sort of park or amenity, which we hope will be an attraction as well. So come visit Acton. One of the things that sets Acton apart, I think, from a lot of communities is its focus on sustainability. We do a lot of things well in Acton. I think one particularly we do well is advanced sustainability initiatives. The Board of Selectmen adopted a very aggressive policy at the end of 2018 to try to incorporate thinking about environmental sustainability in every decision that we make, from budgets to policy issues. So, we're trying to green our fleet. That's an example of our electric motorcycle and one of our electric hybrid cruisers. We promote a bike share program, and that art installation, which was in front of the library last year, those poles are meant to represent gas leaks. It's an issue that our community is focused on, is the number of gas leaks that National Grid has throughout the community and how it impacts people's lives. So that was just a cool display that they used to show it. Another thing, which I'll talk about shortly, actually, is that we just approved a huge new elementary school, and it's going to be triple net zero. So no natural gas on site, no fossil fuels. It's going to be off the grid. We also approved the new fire station, and that will not use natural gas either. And we're going to use solar and geothermal to heat the station. So these two building projects were a lot of work over the last year. We had a town meeting vote in December, followed by a ballot, because it was a 2.5 override debt exclusion, to pass those two projects, and they were overwhelmingly supported by the community. I showed this map. It may be hard to see, but what we built is a 4th fire station. We're building a 4th fire station, and Acton is pretty similar to Westford, so you may say, why do you have 4 fire stations? And if we could start all over again, we probably wouldn't design it. So we had 4, but the way that the community was built out with 3 villages, South Acton, West Acton, and Acton Center, over the last 100 years were where the most of the growth was. But if you look at the blue part of the map, that's North Acton. The blue is stuff that's been built since the 90s. And so there was a ton of development in the north without adequate fire protection. So this map, I think, actually was able to help us get that fire station passed, because when you see it, it's just clear that we need to be doing better up there. A major project that you all see if you pass through Acton is the Kelly's Corner infrastructure project. This is a $20 million investment in redoing an entire corridor. If you're familiar with the exit off of Route 2, where Route 27 is, the Bolodrome is a place you may recognize, and the Roach Brothers, and there's a few other, and where the high school is. That entire corridor is going to be transformed from what it is now, which is a place that you don't notice, and you drive through, and you try to get through as quickly as possible. It'll be transformed into a place that you may want to hang out, stop, and sit on a park bench. It'll have beautiful streetscapes with trees and park benches and pedestrian scale lighting. The latest in bike, actually, I can show you what it's going to look like. This is what it looks like right now. This is what part of it looks like. This is in the main intersection. This is the intersection near Roach Brothers and Starbucks. But this is this is the design aesthetic that it's going to be throughout the district. Nice sidewalks, bike lanes everywhere, new signalization to get people through quicker, and a lot less curb cuts. So people that are walking in the area don't have to dodge as many cars when they're trying to get around. We do a lot, or we try to do a lot. As I mentioned, most of our tax base is residential, so we try to do a lot to promote economic development. We have a collaborative that we started with some manufacturers in town. Hart's is one of our biggest companies. It's been around for a long time. They make if you have a convertible, they probably made the cover on your convertible. They do a lot for all the BMWs and other sports cars. They do other things as well. We revamped our website this year, and we're going to continue to do so, actonma.gov business. And we also had our first restaurant week, which we had about 13 restaurants participate, and it was pretty successful, and we're excited to do it again this September, so stay tuned. Our biggest company is Insolate. I mentioned it last year. We just had the ribbon cutting in May of 2019, where the governor was there and people from all over the state. It's a $200 million new global headquarters, and they make a really interesting product. It's called an Omnipod, which is an insulin injection pod where you stick on your body and it stays on you for 3 days and it keeps giving you your medicine over and over again. So it's a technology that's really taken off, and I think they're adapting it to other uses as well. So that's what it looked like a year ago. Since then, they've actually built a huge parking garage to support the 1,000 employees that they brought to town. Acton did approve a TIF to help offset the costs for them to relocate here from primarily from Billerica and overseas. We have it's an innovation economy. People don't know. There's a lot of cool businesses in Acton that you wouldn't know about it unless you really were paying attention. You're probably driven by a Methods machine on Route 27. They make these big, huge, very precise machine tooling things from Japan, and this is their showroom, and they just did it over. So they have people coming from all over the world to come to Acton to look at these big machines before they buy them. Fluid form, they're trying to do 3D printing to create organs. I mean, that's pretty innovative. Associated Environmental Systems, they create these chambers where people test batteries. So you can put it in there and you can pretend it's 100 degrees or high pressure, low pressure, what it would be like on the moon. And that company is doing very well with batteries. Everything has batteries in it now. And Sparks, which is one of my favorite businesses in town, they have a product that you can buy it and you can put it in your basement and you can sharpen your own skates. And it's really taking off. They're getting very popular, and we're proud to have them in Acton. It's a local guy who's very involved with a lot of the local sports, and it's exciting to have him and his business located in Acton. We also have Gould's Clothing. They're still doing well. I'd encourage you to go there if you need a suit or some spring wear. I mentioned Hearts. We have a cool independent bookstore called Silver Unicorn. They're about 2 years old and they're making it. They're doing well. The community loves it, and they have a lot of nice gifts and great opportunity. We have a tea company, Mark Wendell Tea Company. They've been exporting tea for over 100 years, or for a long time. We have a new ice cream shop that's doing pretty well, Westside Creamery. And this is a business that I think is really great. It's called Orange Door Kitchen. This is an incubator for small food-based businesses. So we have a chocolatier, a spice person, caterers. So it's this commercial, there's 6 commercial kitchen setups, and it's a shared working space. So they all go there and have their own little area, and they're full at capacity. I think he has 14 businesses working out of there, and then they have the lounge area that they also use as a co-working space for people that work from home. They can go work there and hang out in a cool place. So it's a really innovative business, and it's a place where some businesses have started and have now taken off. So it's an exciting thing to have in town. Does anybody remember the Concordian? Has anybody stayed at the Concordian? Well, the Concordian is something that in the 50s it was a great place. They had a pool. They used to have swim lessons for people in Acton, and then over the last 20 years, it's really turned into something pretty horrible. But over the last year, we've forced sort of some changes over there, and a new ownership has come through, and it's now known as the Minuteman Inn, and I encourage you to check it out. Avalon, which is right on the Westford line, they're building second phase, another 86 townhomes that's under construction right now. So that's helping with creating some more affordable options for folks in town. Another big project that is just in the Board of Appeals approval process right now is a 230 unit rental apartment at an old industrial site. There's a picture of what it looks like right now. That's not a great picture of what it's going to look like, but it's representative. It'll have a 230 units, 25% affordable. It's going to be a great opportunity for people that want to move to Acton. It's also going to put it at 10%. As you know, once you get to 10%, the community has a better position for handling how to manage their affordable housing inventory and development. Some exciting projects that are in the works. A project was approved for 31 units of senior housing in Kelly's Corner, which I mentioned earlier. And then there's another 31 unit senior housing project that is in the earlier stages of development by the Housing Authority, right off the highway as you get onto Acton from Route 2. I want to mention that if you want to take a walk this spring, we have a beautiful 60-acre parkland called the Acton Arboretum, which has all kinds of different species of plants and trees, and it's a great place to walk and get in touch with nature, so I encourage you to do so. And Narrow Park is something that we're very proud of. We just celebrated the 20th year of that was created. It used to be an old quarry, and they had the vision to create this water feature and then build this park around it. And one of the most interesting parts of it is Miracle Field. Miracle Field is a facility that's used by the Miracle League, which is individuals with development disabilities have a baseball league, and they play all over the country. And we have one of the 2 places in Massachusetts where they have leagues here. So we're excited to have that, and we partner with them on a lot of things. And finally, I know there's a lot of rock and roll fans here, so we have a summer concert series, Friday nights, some great acts. Everybody loves Pink Floyd. They have a great light show in August, so I encourage you to check that out. There's a couple other great acts, and we have a great 4th of July celebration, which has a Beatles tribute this year, and they're excellent. So, there's a lot of stuff about Acton you can learn on the website. I just wanted to give you some things that aren't on the website. So, thanks for your time.
Michael McCall. Michael is the Assistant Town Manager for Chelmsford. Prior to his current position, Michael spent 15 years as an attorney with a background in criminal, administrative, and municipal law. Michael served as a Chelmsford selectman for 9 years and has been an elected town meeting representative since 1991. He also served on numerous boards and committees in the town of Chelmsford, including Finance, Charter Review, registrars, Community Preservation, Council on Aging, and Solid Waste Management Advisory. Michael is a member of the Chelmsford Police Foundation, and he was a member of the Merrimack Valley Food Bank. Michael graduated from Chelmsford High School and earned a bachelor's degree from Merrimack College, a master's degree from Boston University, and a Juris Doctor from Suffolk Law School. Michael is currently a Moakley Scholar in the Master of Public Administration at Suffolk University. Michael? Do you want to click through? Sure, just do that. When you get to the video, I think you just click on it. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you to the Westford Business Association for inviting us again, and Juniper Networks for hosting. And thank you, Paul. I'd like to acknowledge our manager is here this morning. He's on his way to Boston. He was supposed to have a conflict, but he's here for a few minutes. Wanted to make sure he got here for the networking, as well as our Business Development Director, Lisa Maroney, is here. I also want to put a shout out to the Merrimack Valley Food Bank. They're here this morning, Amy Tessia, some of the other members. They have some great events coming up for a worthwhile cause, including Grape Expectations, which will happen in May, which is a wine tasting event. If you're interested, stop by the table later on and you can talk to us about it. But what we're here today to talk about is business development. And if you've been here in the last couple of years, you've heard me talk about the efforts that we've been making in Chelmsford. And our emphasis has been on live, work, and play. And we work very hard to brand that. And I'm going to start off with a promotional video that the town has put together that's been developed by staff and with the assistance of our Chelmsford Telemedia and one of our resident volunteers.
There is a buzz. There is a buzz.
I think it will be the next great area.
The crossroads at Route 129 encapsulates 623 acres, 70 properties, and an endless amount of opportunity.
It has a lot of technology companies, a lot of healthcare.
High-tech, research, advanced manufacturing, medical, professional services, education. We really have an amazing diversity of businesses here.
Chelmsford is very committed to increasing the amenities in the immediate area.
Things like retail, hotels, a restaurant.
There's a lot of apartments that are going up around here, and there are more on the drawing board.
It really creates a very convenient lifestyle and a place that businesses really want to be located in.
Chelmsford has done an outstanding job preparing any future developer to come in and take advantage of low-cost land, low-cost buildings, and creating whatever amenity it is that they want. It's all about live, work, play.
There are a number of things about Chelmsford that we really like.
We have a highly educated workforce.
With UMass Lowell and Middlesex Community College right nearby. It's in an amazing location.
You're right at the intersection of 495 and Route 3.
And it's commutable from Boston. Companies are coming from all over the country to locate here.
Chelmsford as a whole, it's really very business friendly.
It was important that we were coming into a town that was pro-business.
My job responsibility is to engage with all the existing companies here and provide them technical assistance and support with whatever challenges they may have.
The town seems to want to do whatever they can.
Developers are seeing this as an opportunity to get in early.
The time to buy here is really now.
So here's a little bit of background on the town of Chelmsford. According to our clerk, we have just under 33,000. Mass DOR says we have 35,000 residents. We have a strong labor force, low unemployment rate. You will notice since I've been coming here for the last 2 years, we now have a split tax rate in Chelmsford. There was a shift made over a year ago. In this most recent year, there was a shift back. It initially shifted to 1.27. It shifted down a little bit back to balance it out to 1.21. The average assessed family home in Chelmsford is $447,000. The average tax bill is $7,300. We have an annual budget coming forward this year of $141 million. We have 5 schools in town. We have 4 elementary, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school. What's great about Chelmsford is its positioning. You heard it in the video, and everything I mentioned now, it really to emphasize everything that was in that promotional video. We're at the intersection of 2 major highways. We have 6 interchanges with off-ramps. We have convenient economic centers at almost every one of those. We're in the heart of the Route 3 corridor, and we're 10 miles from Route 128 and 10 miles from the New Hampshire border, and we're equally distanced from both the airport in Manchester as well as Logan. These are some of the highways and routes that run through the town of Chelmsford, and as I've said in the past, all roads lead to Chelmsford, which also can bring some congestion and traffic into the town, which I'll talk about in a minute. This is a map of the town. Those 6 interchanges that I mentioned are located here. The blue triangles represent our economic centers, which are located around those interchanges. We have Drum Hill up top. Over here is down around where Coles and Market Basket are. This is our center, and then we have the Route 129 corridor over here. We're still looking at what we can do with the Route 40 interchange. We had a study committee last year, and we do view that as an area of potential growth and development down the road. This is a breakdown of the the assessed classes. We have a strong residential base in town. We have 82% residential, 17% commercial and industrial. And you can see that there's been a trend, primarily due to the construction as well as the increased valuations of real estate, that the portion of the residents have been picking up more of the taxes, which factored into part of the shift. We have a diverse economic base in town. We have anything from mom and pop to independent businesses to national retail and restaurant chains and multinational corporations. It's a healthy, diverse group within the town, and they make great community partners. I've seen some here this morning, Enterprise Bank, Lowell 5. We work well with all of these individuals, and a lot of that comes down to our business development director doing outreach with the businesses. Our business development director you saw in the video, that's Lisa Maroney. She came on board about 2 years ago. What she does is what staff used to do until she arrived. She serves as someone doing the attraction, promotion, development, networking, outreach, and the incentives for the businesses in town. One of the things that she focuses on is welcoming these businesses in town. We have a ribbon cutting program each time we have a new business come in. There's a welcome kit that comes in where other businesses in town collaborate and provide information to that new business. Lisa's been working very hard on making us a biotech-ready community. We currently have gold status, and she's working towards getting the town to platinum status. She also goes and attends a lot of networking events, and she works on things like the video that you previously saw. The campaign that we've been running for the last year or so has been Chelmsford Crossroads at Route 129. We have our own dedicated website. If you go there, you can find information all about the corridor down on 129. That has been the focus and the transformation that we've been working on. It really deals with the overlay that we put down in that community, and it emphasizes the live, work, play that Chelmsford's been working at, not just on Route 129, but all of those economic centers. And the structure of that zoning allows for residential, restaurants, retail, and we've had significant development in those areas of town. Currently, the vacancy rate has come down to roughly 10%, maybe a little bit under that. It was more than double that over a year ago. So through the efforts of our staff as well as Lisa, we've been able to attract businesses and help bring that number down. Some of the significant developments, we're going to have a new restaurant coming in on 197 Bill Ricker Road, which is on Route 129. There's a new retail strip mall going in over near some of the residential developments that came in off of Mill and 129. We have some of the larger, more visible vacant spaces that are actually right on 129. These are 300 and 330 Bill Ricker Road. If you've driven by there, you're starting to see that the property owners are doing build out. We believe that we will have some exciting news in the next 30 to 60 days about major tenants that are looking to come in, which will really help the area. And also that creates a synergistic effect which draws other people into the area. So we have a lot of exciting news. We've had a lot of excitement coming in and some major tenants come in. But I want to emphasize that the excitement isn't just located on 129. We have businesses and property owners that realize that Chelmsford's on the move and they want to reinvest. And we've seen that in Drum Hill. One of the property owners took one of the older buildings, so it's probably about 60 years old. They raised it and they put in a new building. Aspen Dental, as well as some other national chains, will be locating in there. The hotels in the community have made a major reinvestment. Radisson Hotel in the center will be undergoing a renovation later this year. The hotel was divided in two, and Holiday Inn Express came in last year, and then this Residence Inn was transformed into this more boutique Element Hotel up in North Chelmsford. So you're seeing that not only are we getting new business, but our existing businesses are making an investment for the long haul because they believe what we are doing is moving the town in the right direction. We've had housing and community development. In the last year, we've had completion of a couple of the projects I talked to you last year. Kinloch, which is in the overlay. Gristmill at Cushing Place, which is higher-end condominium units, which are right in Chelmsford Center. And they're within walking distance of all the amenities. I will allude to in a moment the slides regarding the Oddfellows and Fisk House and 9 Acton Road, but you're starting to see more interest in coming into these economic centers with housing so that people can do the live, work, and play. We have walkability in our downtown. We have the restaurants, and now we're getting the housing. And the town is always, as John alluded to, mindful of sustainability. We've been working on grants for green communities, municipal vulnerability, and the town is working, or had been working toward becoming an age-friendly community through AARP, and we did receive that designation last year. And that's important because many communities like Chelmsford, Westford, all around here on the 495 corridor really came into being about 50 years ago when my family moved to Chelmsford. That's when Route 495 and Route 3 extended out this way. And so what you're starting to see in these communities, and you can find this information at UMass Boston, the Collins Center, and their Age for Center for Age and Demographics. By 2030, we will have almost 1 in every 3 residents in Chelmsford 60 years of age or older. So it's important to be an age-friendly community, and it's important to start looking at the housing for your citizens so that they can age in place. My parents are 80 years old, and they want to stay in Chelmsford, and they don't need that single-family home. So these are the things that we're being mindful of, because not only your business want to come in town, but you have to take care of those residents. And some of the people coming to your businesses are going to be bringing their families with them. So it's something we all have to be concerned about. These are 2 of the projects that I mentioned that were completed this year. Gristmill is in downtown. It's right off of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, and again, walking distance to downtown. The Kinloch is on Turnpike Road in the overlay. This is downtown. If you've driven through Chelmsford in the last 10 years, you've probably noticed nothing has happened. This used to be, for years it was a bank building. It started way back when, I want to say it was First Bank, when I worked there as a kid. And it's gone through Shawmut, and I think most recently it was Santander. Santander has an office over here. And the Fisk House had been used primarily as law offices over the years, but these have sat vacant for a considerable amount of time. We're excited at this point in time that we have a local developer and a local investor that are going to revitalize the Oddfellows building. It'll be multi-use. There'll be a restaurant coming in on the first floor. There'll be residential upstairs. There'll be some renovation at the Fisk House, and as you can see in the back corner in the drawing in the bottom right, there's going to be additional units of housing going in the back parking lot. Again, these will afford the ability for people to live right in the downtown center, walk to all these restaurants, access our library, the rail trail, and they can utilize the public transportation that we have through the LRTA to get out to 129. So it's ideally situated for the live, work, play model that we've been talking about. Similarly, if you've driven out of the center on Acton Road, there's a building there that's probably 60 years old. It's not really utilized to its fullest capacity. It's not the greatest looking building, but we have interest again from developers to come in and create more housing in the downtown area. As I said before, we have a lot of roads coming into Chelmsford Center, and to accommodate the businesses and the residents, we've been looking at traffic improvements. The Board of Selectmen this summer had a traffic listening session, and I head up what's called the Traffic Safety Committee, and we've been doing a lot in the community, and if you've driven through Chelmsford Center lately, you should be noticing the flow. Our residents are very happy with it. We've been putting in new crosswalk signals. We're looking at sidewalk upgrades. We're starting a traffic calming program, a pilot program this summer. We've been working with Mass DOT to extend sidewalks out to where we have some residential, heavy residential concentrations. And we've been working on the signalization in the center. As you know, all those roads meet together. It's been a challenge. And we've been working with some of our partners, including Pan Am, to improve some of the railroad crossings, and we have many in the town. This slide illustrates where we've been working on some of the main congestion problems. Where these green circles are, we've improved the signalization and the timing at Dalton Road. Mass DOT, as you may have seen, did some bridge work here, which also included new signalization. We will be working on, but everywhere you saw a signal previously, we've updated those. We've actually blocked off Westford Street where a lot of the cut-through traffic came in, and we're redirecting them to the lights. And that has really improved the flow of traffic in the mornings. We're working on getting the sidewalks down 110. Mass DOT will be making improvements to this bridge here. We will be putting additional sidewalks down Chelmsford Street, and out on 129 there's a tip project that will improve the intersection and the traffic flow going out to 129. So we're working on accommodating the residents as well as the businesses. And for both the businesses and the residents, we offer plenty of amenities. We have parks, beaches, the bike trail, and we're constantly working on those. This past year, we've improved the 9th hole at our public golf course. We have an ice skating rink that offers public skate times. We're working on updating the chillers there and doing that in an environmentally and sustainable way. We also are making improvements to our parks. Last year I talked to you about Roberts Field. We did a major renovation to make it a more inclusive park. This year we're going to be doing some improvements to Varney Park, and recognizing current trends, we're going to be putting in a pickleball court out there, which has attracted a lot of interest. Down at Town Hall, we've been making a lot of improvements to help not only the residents but the businesses. We've recently updated our website. We have a new domain as well. It's chelmsfordmass.gov, which is easier than townofchelmsford.us for me. All the departments are moving to a new cloud-based online permitting and licensing system, which will all be parcel identified, so that any department can look at what's going on a particular parcel, and it allows for expedited permitting. It cuts down on the time that people have to come up with paper permits. They can scan and upload all their documents. All of our inspectors now go out with a tablet with this software on there, and it really helps to move things along. We're also upgrading our telephone systems throughout the town and putting in an updated interactive voice response system, which is basically your press one for this department. But it helps expedite those calls and allows people to get through to the people they need to in a much quicker fashion. Getting to the end. This is representative of some of the businesses that have come in the last year. We have small business, large businesses, a lot of restaurants. If you're familiar with Chelmsford Center, the Friendly's building sat vacant for many years, and we were really excited. A nice pizza place that has a location at Fenway Park, and as well as in Sudbury and others, Max and Leo's. They've come out to Chelmsford and they've transformed that property, and again, it's right in that walkable area of the downtown with all the housing. And there's many businesses there that have made a reinvestment in Chelmsford. Zoll, one of our larger employers, bought the buildings that they've been leasing down off of Mill Road, so these are committing to the community. And in summary, what the town of Chelmsford really has to offer for the businesses that are coming in. We have a competent team based around our manager's office, which includes our development director, our business development director, our economic development commission, and our engaged public officials. We have public participation by many of our dedicated residents, oftentimes are people who grew up in the community. And we offer the infrastructure, the public utilities, sewer, accessibility, the LRTA, and all the amenities I talked about. But most importantly, we have the zoning and overlay in place, as well as expedited permitting and tax incentives. And it's one thing I always say, if you're interested, Chelmsford is open for business. And thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Now we'll hear from Westford, Jodi Ross. Jodi is currently the town manager for Westford, a position she has held since August of 2008. Prior to accepting this position, Jodi was the first town administrator for Bolton, Massachusetts for 4.5 years. Before joining Bolton, Jodi held the position of assistant town coordinator in Westborough, Massachusetts for 9 years. Jodi earned a master's degree in public administration from Clark University and a bachelor's degree from the University of Rhode Island. Prior to entering the public sector, Jodi worked in the private sector with experience in management and human resources. Jodi? Do you want to click through?
How do I click?
Just.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jodi Ross. I know many of you are Westford residents, which I adore, and the rest of you can move in anytime. We have a lot of new housing going on and a lot of excitement, but thank you, Juniper Networks, and thank you, Eric Heidemann, the Assistant Town Manager, who's also here. He helped put this presentation together. Of course, John used to work in Westford and lives there. But when I was in Bolton, I went first, now I go last. So I try to go a little faster. So let's dig right in. This is what I'm planning to cover in this presentation. And this will be available online if you want to look at it later. So a couple of statistics. We've listed what our population is now. And our single family home has gone up to average price $565. We have a great unemployment rate in Westford. I always brag about our tax rate, which had been the lowest around, but somehow my former town, Westborough, beat us out a little bit here. But we do have a single tax rate. We looked at it a couple years ago, and the Board of Selectmen did not feel the benefits to the residents outweighed sticking with a single tax rate. And our business commercial is 13% of our town So we've had a lot of residential development, not as much economic development in commercial, but here's some of the projects that we have going on. I'm not going to read through them. Again, this will be available online, but we have age restricted right now. We're about 25% over 60, and that's changing rapidly. So we are trying to address that too. Here's some other projects going on. We've had a couple of mill redevelopments. Abbott Mill Phase 2 is continuing. Littleton Road is beginning. Here's some 40Bs we have going on Groton Road and Sugar Maple Lane, or 28 townhomes. Yeah, I'm trying to go a little fast to catch up here, but Hanover Hills, these are apartments on 2 Robbins Road, and the Hanover Westford Valley on Concord Road. I think the town thought this was going to bring a lot of kids to our school system, but we have actually not found that. I know we have our chair, Avery, here, who's having a little muffin, but I think we have about 10, is it 10 kids so far? Avery, do you know? I think it's about 10, so these developments don't seem to be geared towards school-age children. More residential. I think one of the exciting things going on is we have on the table now the Helena Crocker residences, which are going to be built at 60 Littleton Road, which will be 18 affordable units, and we're working with Chelmsford Choice on this project, so very exciting. Our subsidized housing inventory is now at 13.86, and as John mentioned, that helps us control some of the 40Bs that come into town, but we're very proud to have that level of affordable housing in our town. Commercial development, we haven't had a lot of new commercial development, but there's going to be a new grill shack at Kibble Farm, so that's exciting, and that's opening, I think, next summer. Karma, of course, did a very large expansion renovation. We have Mr. Max Macaroni. If you haven't been there, I hear it's excellent and busy every day. And then, of course, Newport Materials, the asphalt plant has been under construction and is nearing completion. For engineering infrastructure, I mean, we've really had a lot of road projects. The last year we tried to slow it down a little because I think we were frustrating our residents. But we did complete the Oak Hill Route 40 intersection. We did build a new water tank, which was very exciting. We did create a stormwater enterprise fund, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And for the upcoming year, it says 19, but it's actually just 20. We have this huge $8 million more Oak Hill Plain Road project where we'll be putting in sidewalks, new water infrastructure, and then a new road. We are still working on the Dunstable Route 40 intersection. I know that kind of slowed down a little bit. I think it's picking up. Kersey Circle, where actually John resides over in that neighborhood. We're replacing the water main, not because of John, and not because of Andrea Perriner-Sweet, who's one of my selectmen, but because it's failed like every year for the last 10 years. So we're replacing that. And then we're going to put in a Carlisle Road sidewalk for the new development going in down there. We're trying to add sidewalks where we can. They're very expensive, and then we have to maintain them, but we want to be walkable. In design, upcoming is the Beaverbrook Bridge, which will be quite a project. We have to work with Littleton on how to get people around that project. Boston Road is going to be another big one. We're going to be ripping up all of Boston Road, putting in new water, sidewalks, bike lanes. The town-wide, we're doing a culvert study related to stormwater, and then Route 110, Cornerstone to Powers Road. I believe there's going to be, what's going on there? I believe that's going to be a sidewalk. Stormwater management, I don't know if most of you hopefully have been paying attention to this. Most of the towns are starting to do this, but we did spend a lot of time, 9 months, talking about this. We have to comply with the EPA. The town was putting in about $600,000 a year, but we need to put in about $1 million more. And because our budgets are stretched, we could not do this without implementing a fee. So the selectmen have decided to do that. The first bills will go out this fall. They will go to businesses and residents. But it is a way to keep up with these initiatives to keep our water clean. I think I mentioned most of this that we've done. You can go on our website, which is westfordma.gov/stormwater, and look up your property. It will tell you what the fee is going to be. And any questions, you may call me or my town engineer. This also explains more of how the selectmen came up with the fee. It's very complicated. Condos will receive a fee through their association. Again, we're happy to answer any questions. We've done a few mailers in your tax bills. Land management, Westford cares very much about their land, and we've put in a new well at the Hill Orchard. We encourage you to go to Hill Orchard. They have the best peaches around. They're doing a forest stewardship plan at Stony Brook, which I don't believe there's been a plan there for about 100 years. We always make trail improvements, and we encourage you to go out on these trails with us and pick up brush or help us cut limbs or whatever's across it. Invasive species control, we've been doing that in mostly our lakes and ponds. We have an initiative that we started about 5 years ago to make sure we're keeping up with that. And then, of course, we have a Healthy Westford Committee we started a few years ago, and they're doing Westford Walks initiatives and other initiatives to help keep our residents healthy. For economic development, we have a committee which is very active. They're here, but they're scattered around the room. But I am on that committee along with the Selectman Playe, and we are working with local businesses. We're here today. We're working with NIMCOG. We've been trying to work on expedited permitting and different initiatives, which I think I listed right here. We do have brochures, which I hope we brought, and we're always here to work with the local businesses on your needs and on expansion or anything we can do to help you. We are updating the economic development section of our master plan right now, and Puma, which is one of our large businesses, has decided to relocate to Somerville, where they also had a facility, so they'll be vacating next April, and we are helping them market their property. For municipal projects, we have proposed for our town meeting a new municipal center building. Those of you who are familiar with town, we have the old fire station. It looks terrible. It's falling down with every windstorm we have. So we are proposing at this upcoming annual town meeting to tear it down, dig up the hazardous material because there was some oil spill there from the fire department, and then replace it with a new building which would have a 100-person meeting room. Most of our selectmen meetings, planning board meetings, board of appeal meetings, there's people out in the hall because they can't fit in the room, or one group goes in and has their business done and then they have to leave so the other group can go in. So this happens continuously. We'd rather have a big meeting room that we could use regularly and be inclusive. It would house our technology department, our veterans department, and our facilities department. These are all in substandard locations and they need to be better situated. So the estimated costs we just got, including the tear down, the cleanup, and so on, is about $8.7 million. It would require a debt exclusion. To build the building is about $6.7, but there's other things that have to happen. 63 Main, those of you that know, we bought this about 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, I guess. The town hasn't decided what to do with this yet. We are looking at different uses. There was a task force that made some recommendations. This is on the warrant, which is coming up, so our annual town meeting is March 28th. I don't know what we're going to do if we have a coronavirus lockdown. We might have to go back to electronic voting, which I tried at a prior town meeting that didn't go over too well. But anyway, this is our operating budget. Capital, we've been funding significantly, as I mentioned, the new center building and the other project. I am proposing to create a Department of Public Works. I did that 9-10 years ago and it failed, but I think we're in a better place to do that now, so I'm hoping that will pass. We've got 6 citizen petitions, which is a lot for us. I hear Nantucket has 57 on their warrant, but these are some of the citizen petitions we have, and I believe the ambulance services is going to be dismissed. That was something that came up, but they changed their mind. And then 63 Main, there is a citizen petition to sell that and create parking spaces for the town hall. So it's going to be an interesting town meeting. We have 7 zoning bylaw changes. I mean, we found out we have a lot of massage in Westford, which is pretty legitimate, I think, but we want to tighten up, what our regulations on that are, and so we're going to talk about that. We had some complaints about short-term rentals in neighborhoods, through Airbnb and so on, so we're going to tighten up those regulations, and lots of other interesting things that are available online, and accept Jenny Richards Road as a public way. So CPA, these are some of the CPA projects that we're planning to do. A lot of recreation, the Westford Academies, continuing that project, and an amenities building. We've got lots of recreation facilities that are in need of renovation, so we're looking at a lot of those, and so that's hopefully going to pass at town meeting. And that's it. So I hope that helps, and thank you very much for providing me this opportunity.
Well, we heard a lot about the growth in all the communities. I think it's an exceptional year. The amount of growth in the infrastructure, housing, and commerce. And I think all the town managers deserve a round of applause for having a fantastic year.